There was a time when children had many resources to play and be safe. Statistics show that our children's safety has become more dangerous than ever. Stay with us for some resolutions coming up on this episode of The Issues. I'm Sarah Bernard, and thanks for staying with us. According to the National Institutes of Health, unintentional injuries are a leading cause of death and hospitalization for children worldwide, which has affected nearly 1 million children each year. I'd like to share with you a family who has received help from an organization who's giving children a safe place while teaching them some new skills. Let's take a look.
We are here at the home of Mrs. Bernice Sims, where we talk about her renovation that was done to her back porch by Carpenters Kids Camp. We talked about the positivity of this renovation and what it meant to Miss Bernice Sims and her husband. Carpenters Kids Camp gives children hands-on experience, teaches general knowledge about tools, and puts that knowledge to use by participating in a community building project. Mrs. Bernice Sims and her husband were the first on that list to receive their porch renovation.
We were planning to have it did, but we hadn't saved enough money because, my husband had to pay big money for his medicine and I had to pay for mine. It was really bad. The lumber that come off of that, I was really scared to come on out here on this post. So it's just one of them things. We were planning on having this, but we was on the list, and that's what blessed us. They called and said that I still need my purse, did. And I said yes. And they brought, the kids out. The kids came out. That was a blessing to see all them young kids out here working. It was hot like this. I thank God for everything they did because they didn't have to come out here. I needed to do. So I was one of the first chosen person they chose on their list.
Carpenters Kids Camp is a one-week camp organized by former Union carpenter and pastor of the Greater Pentecostal Church of God, Bishop Terence E. Coleman. The camp takes place annually in June and offers a fun and safe place for kids to learn carpentry.
I'm just thanking God for everything that they did. They'll know how to do this when they get to be men. They'll never forget it if you teach them right. And I'm thrilled with the push because I really need it. I really need it.
Now, Miss Bernice Sims said that she felt like this was a great camp for the kids and the youth. They were very positive and respectful during the entire process, and she feels like it's a great way for the St. Louis community to keep kids off the streets. For STL TV, Kelsey McClure.
Thanks to Mrs. Sims for sharing your story, and what a wonderful job those children did. Our topic today is keeping our children safe. There's several organizations that are providing safe places for children, but we're going to focus on the Carpenters Kids Camp. Bishop Terence Coleman is the founder of the camp, and his goal is to build skills, faith, and character in the kids while keeping them safe. He's also the pastor of Greater Pentecostal Church of God. And welcome to The Issues, Bishop Coleman. So you have a camp for kids every summer. It's a one-week camp. Little kids, teaching them carpentry skills. We just saw a great video of the kids in action. So what inspired you to start this camp?
First of all, Sarah, thank you for having me on the show called The Issues. And we certainly got some issues with our young people today. But I had a dream. I'm a union carpenter before I started pastoring the church. So I always had this gift that I wanted to give back and help other young children, whether they're a boy or a girl, that may be a person that love to work with their hands and maybe aspiring to go in the construction field as a carpenter or electrician or even a mason. So that's how it all got started. And I got started back in 2019, actually when I started the camp. So I started out with teaching basics safety first, and we have the hard helmets. They use those, safety glasses and things like that. And then the second day, we teach them safety and tools, and they learn how to handle tools with safety glasses. I don't let them handle things like power saw, things like that, because these are children between the ages of 8 and 12 years old. And I take 12 kids, boys and girls, and teach them. And then on Wednesday, they build toolboxes. We pre-cut the boxes, but they actually put the boxes together for themselves. And then they burn their name or their nickname on the side of it, and they take it home at the end of the program. And then we give them a certificate on that Sunday, and I have a graduation. Then on that Friday, where it really gets exciting, or like Thursday, I take them to a African-American contractor that has his own business, build churches, homes and different things like that, and let them see, hey, you could be doing one of these things like this today, own your own company and helping other people. Then on Friday, when it gets really exciting, where you saw Mrs. Sims there, we went out, tore her porch down, and we built it back up.
So that project that we just saw was done in one day.
Well, we had to go back, some of the men, and kind of finish it up,
work, yeah.
But other than that, for the most part.
Yeah, and they get real life experience. So whatever made you think that 8-year-olds could do work like this? I mean, it's hard to imagine, but that's a gift, right? To be able to teach to 8-year-olds, 8 to 12-year-olds who are naturally distracted, right, and busy.
Yeah.
So what made you think that was the age to bring into this kind of camp?
When you think about it, today's time, these kids are very smart, they're very talented, they are so easy to pick up things. I mean, you take the computer. I mean, you ask them a question, oh, here, Dad, Grandpa, this is what you're looking for. And then you look at the biblical side of it. Jesus was a carpenter at an early age, yes.
Yeah, that's really, so you were in the union, you were a union carpenter.
That's correct.
And you started learning, you were telling me, in high school, is that correct?
High school, that's correct. And when you think about it, Sarah, in high school years ago, we had shop classes, we had home economic classes and things like that, cooking classes, and that gave us our start. General business, I had that also in high school. And so I had a class in my senior year that they had a program where we actually built a house in my senior year. And then from there, I went right into an apprenticeship program and got into the union, and I got a journeyman certificate.
Yeah, and it's true that we need more contractors. We need people with these skills in our world today.
That's correct.
We all know that. There's just not enough people to do the work that's out there, right?
That's correct.
Home renovations or whatever. Yeah. So to start the kids early and to show them and give them the confidence, in these types of skills to use their hands, get them away from the computer. I'm sure all of these are the things that you've talked about and thought about, and how appealing is that for parents, right?
Yes. And I talk to the kids. I mean, I try to be real talk with them. I say, listen, guys, you don't have to sell drugs. You don't have to walk up and down the street, sagging and all the other issues and get off with the wrong group. But you can do something. This skill can take you a long way. You can work for yourself, own your own company, have your name on the truck or whatever. And even help do some things around the house for your mom and dad right now.
Yeah, exactly. So on the subject of keeping our kids safe, so how do you feel that your program is addressing that?
Well, we are providing kids and we're bonding with them, the parents, or I have other pastors and other laymen that help me, and we're able to bond with them, talk to them, and we even teach the kids even to pray. Even when we start with chapel in the morning, scripture, prayer, and we're still building that faith, building that character, and building their skills, learning their skills along with that. And so we interject those things in them, and so they may say, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to get in that, and keep them on a positive tip.
So basically providing them an alternative.
Right.
So the camp itself is 1 week.
Correct.
It's a Monday through Friday, all day.
All day.
And how hard, do you have other people helping you teach the
Yes,
kids?
I have to, because I would be somewhere hanging off I mean, because working with kids, they're very energetic. They move around a lot. You got to watch it. Want nobody to get hurt, anything like that. Yes, it's a lot of work, but I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, so these kids are, it's the summertime.
Summertime.
And it is hard to find things for kids to do
True.
all summer long, especially with working parents. And your program is keeping kids off the street at least for one week.
And actually,
right?
the parents, I had previous years, they want to bring their children back because they enjoyed the program. I only take 12 that never have been through the program. But maybe next year, I'm thinking I got to sit down with my team and think about forming another week and bring some of those kids back for an expansion program or an advanced program for the program.
No, I feel like you could probably fill every week of the summer. It's probably
Yeah,
not
you
your goal,
you're right.
but there's a lot of kids who need things to
Yes.
do in the summertime, and how great they're outside. They're learning something that they're not learning
Right.
probably at home or at school, because as I'm a parent and I don't know how to teach these skills.
Yeah.
So somebody like you with your professional background, I mean, that's fantastic. So so you started in 2019, so
True.
we've had 4 years, but I think you lost a year. Did you lose
Right,
a
called
year
the
during the
pandemic.
pandemic? Okay, so you've had a few years under your belt, and so far it's all these kids, nobody's repeated because you haven't started the
Right,
expansion
right,
program.
yeah.
So what's your plan? How do you see beyond adding the expansion program? Do you see a high demand every year for kids
Oh,
who
yes.
want to do
And
this
really,
program?
Sarah, it's really just word of mouth. We don't do a lot of advertising. I just got a website just this year. It's Carpenters Kids Camp.org. And anybody want to know any information, anything about the program, look at the website. You got testimonies, photos, numbers, how you can reach us. Maybe, somebody may be looking maybe for next year.
Right, yeah. I mean, how are you? So you were limiting it to about 12 kids.
12
Have you
kids.
had to turn anyone away yet?
Maybe every now and then we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started with 12, that's it, 12 kids. But my future goal, one, that I wanted to maybe have another chapter in another city or another state or through another church. Also advancing it maybe one more week, bring those other kids back that had been through the program to advanced class and kind of pick it up. And I really, in my heart, maybe somebody may donate a house or something like that, where I could do some year-round things like that also.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many ways to expand and grow, and it's really limitless, I would think. So how is it affecting you? How do you feel after having started this program, seeing these kids? How do you feel about it?
It made me want to cry.
Oh.
I was just watching the promo of the Sims, the way she was talking about the program, how they came out, and also their income, because our camp paid for all the lumber, amen, that we did on that project. And but just listening to her, it almost brought tears to my eyes. I had to walk out of the production room there for a while to kind of pull myself together.
We're watching the video.
Yeah, but it really is a blessing.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to hear that in that testimony.
So what if somebody like Mrs. Sims has a project in mind for your Carpenter Kids Camp? Is that something that could they contact you, or do you already have lots of
And
projects?
actually how this started was our alderman, which is Pam Boyd. I usually give her a call and say, hey, Pam, we on first name basis, no disrespect. I say, hey, anybody need some work done in the community in the it's actually 13 ward now, because I like to keep it within that area.
Yeah.
She said, yeah, I know somebody. I said, give me their name. I'll go out and talk to them and see what we can do for them. But I started with the city, where our church is in the 13th ward.
Okay.
And there's a lot of issues in the 13th ward with the children, hunger, walking the streets, nothing to do. So I said, I want to do it in my community.
So real quick, before we take a break, where exactly is your church and where is the camp?
Okay, our church location is Greater Pentecostal Church, God's name, West Florissant and Mimica, right there on the corner. We take up the whole block, and actually we do the program right there at our church. And I take up the whole dining room and set up in the classroom. I build a partition wall, drywall, teach them what's behind the wall like you got here. I had all my tools set up. Everything is there. I have a caterer come in for breakfast and lunch.
Yeah, so the kids are fed, and oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I love all this good stuff happening in our community. So thank you so much, Bishop Coleman, for coming in and sharing. The word's going to get out. It's not just going to be word of mouth anymore. So
you getting ready to blow me up, Sarah.
You get ready. Okay, so when we return, we're going to have with us a couple of people joining to share how the program has helped their children. We'll be right back.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, today's topic is keeping our children safe. We now have a couple of mothers who will share how the program has helped their children. Miss Lena Chapman, who's also a licensed professional counselor, and Miss Crystal Watkins. Welcome, both of you, Crystal and Lena. So glad you could join us. So we were just speaking with Bishop Coleman about the program of the Carpenters Kids Camp, and you all both have kids who participated in the camp.
Yes.
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 So Lena, why don't we start with you? How old are your kids?
So my children are 10 and 8, and then I also had a nephew who participated as well, and he's 9. And so we had 10, 9, and 8 all participated, and oh my goodness, the drive there every morning was full of chatter about what they were going to learn, what they learned the day before, and they were just so excited to share everything with me.
Were the kids excited when you told them they were going to do this carpentry camp? What was their reaction?
They were like, what are we going to do? What it's about? What's a carpenter? And so we're like, you're going to learn some things about some tools and building. They're like, okay, but after that first day, they were like ready to go. Are we going tomorrow? Are you dropping us off? Remember, we have to be here at a certain time. I'm like, okay, we're going to be there. So they were just thrilled to get there each and every morning on time.
It was perfect. I love it. And so it's all day. Like, what's the length of the day for the kids?
So I think I dropped them off around, I would say like 8:30, because I think it started at 9, and then they were done by 4 p.m. So it was definitely all day. And one of the awesome things about it was that they provided breakfast and lunch for them as well.
Yeah, and that makes it super easy for you
Yes.
as a mom, busy
Yes.
mom in the summertime. I know how that is. I've been there. So, Crystal, what about you? So you had kids that were in the camp as well. Crystal, how old were your kids?
He was 7, about to turn 8.
Okay, so one child who's in it, 7 years old. So he's
yes,
done it
I had my daughter was in when Bishop did the Christmas Carpenter Kids a few years ago before the pandemic, and she was in that as well, and she enjoyed that. Yeah.
Okay, good. So was your child's experience similar to Lena's children? Was he so excited about it?
At first, he was like, camp, and I said he had to get up early. He's like, well, that sounds like school. Like, that's the same hours as school. And he was like, I don't know if I want to get up early on my summer. And then after the first day, the second day, because it was between 8 and 9, you could drop them off, and then they had time to fellowship with the other carpenter kids and eat breakfast and stuff. And if we didn't leave by 7:45 for him to get there, like right at 8, he was like, we're gonna be late. I said, no, you have till 9 to be there. Like he was ready to go.
So what, in your experience and just from hearing your kids talk, what was the excitement? What drew them back on day 2? Was it the other kids? Was it the bishop? Was it the skills?
I really feel like it was the skills. Yes, they interacted with the other kids, but they were just so excited about what was next. So I learned this on this day, so what are we going to learn the next day, and just handling the tools. And even when they got home, they would talk about the safety glasses and different things and, just skills that they learned that day. And they were just so excited to share with everyone, my husband and I, about everything that they did, yes.
And the toolbox that they made was
Oh my goodness, that toolbox was amazing. And it's just, they were just so excited to show those things off to us. And I just, they were just excited.
It was filled with, they had a brand new level, they had screwdriver, hammer, like they
first
had
aid kit.
Yes.
Everything.
Oh, and Nehemiah likes to take his first aid kit with him everywhere he goes now in case he needs it, because he said you never know when you're going to get hurt.
Have you seen any of these skills translate to helping at home?
Yes, absolutely. So, just like little things around the house, maybe a screw needs to get screwed in a little bit more and think, oh, I got it. And then, they kind of get their stuff out or get some of Dad's tools and try to screw things in. And it's just like, oh, well, great. We have some handy men around the house versus a handy man.
Yeah, exactly. So let's take a step back and talk about kids and the safety and feeling that your kids are safe in today's world. How do you feel, and are you worried about that?
Absolutely. It's so scary. It's way scarier now than when we were younger. Like you don't even want them to walk to the store around the corner, and that's all over. No matter where you live, it's scary. So it's nice that to instill they have the camp to go to, and if he does it later on, I know there's lots of kids. My niece did it as well, and my nephews did it a few years back, and they all enjoy it. They all still talk about it, and they all still have their toolboxes. And
yeah, so you feel it's an important element of keeping kids safe. It's a week that they're safe, but also building confidence, which it gives them alternatives
and
too.
gives them a trade that they might not have thought about before.
Absolutely. Lena, as a licensed counselor, how important is it for us to be talking to our kids in real terms about safety, about their safety?
I feel like it's very important. Again, this world isn't what we grew up in, and so the camp provided those elements of safety. As a parent, you're like, what's this new camp? Who are the people going to be around me and or around my children? And so just to be able to drop them off and know that they'll be in good hands was a comfort for a mother and a parent. And I just feel like the camp also not only provided skills, but an outlet. When you think about, therapy and just the things that kids go through these days and what they see and what they experience, it provides an outlet for them to navigate their emotions through another craft of building something. So I just felt like that was just right on target with their social emotional support and things of that nature.
And so, and you feel that as parents, we should be talking to our kids. They're hearing, right, about safety issues that concern people in our world.
Absolutely.
And we need to be direct and be there to talk to them about those things.
Absolutely. And like you said, having those conversations with our kids can be very tough because you don't want to scare them, but you also don't want them to be not prepared. So having those conversations with them are very important. I feel like, it's just the world we live in today, but, preparing them for those, maybe those incidents or things like that can definitely bring a little comfort to me to know that they'll be prepared.
Yeah, and do your kids, I don't have little kids anymore. My kids are older, they're in their 20s, and they're gone from home. So what are little kids talking about at home these days? Are they talking about safety and their safety?
Yeah.
They really are. You kind of catch those small conversations like, wait, what are you talking about? What's going on? And they're like, well, so-and-so said this, and what's that? And, just lockdowns at schools and things like that. Like what, they're asking questions, what's happening? Do you experience that a little bit?
Yeah.
So, you're just kind of like, okay, and it breaks your heart as a parent.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, man, I didn't have to have those conversations and worry about things like that.
Right, we had tornado drills. Or
yes, not fire drills.
Not mass shooting drills.
Yes.
Not
It's
safety
unbelievable.
drills.
Yeah, exactly. And in your neighborhoods, is it something that you feel safety is an issue? I mean, I feel like it's everywhere.
It is everywhere. Yeah.
Go ahead. I feel like, it's everywhere. Like it used to be where, you'd be like, oh, I don't hear about there. But now, like, you'll turn on the news and you'll be like, wow, there was a shooting there or a robbery there. And it will be like in broad daylight. Like there was the person's car that was getting like robbed right in the middle of daylight and people were videoing it instead of like, it's just,
helping.
yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, so going back to Carpenters Kids Camps, and we heard about these ideas to maybe expand it and have sort of the second year of programming for the kids who've been through it one time. How do you feel about that? Is it something that you would be interested in? Or your kids?
Absolutely, like 110%, absolutely.
Pretty good, okay. Yeah, so would your children go back?
I'm pretty sure they will because they were so excited to talk about helping their uncle with their porch after the camp. They were like, we're going to bring our tools over to our uncle's house and help him build his porch.
Did they do that?
Not yet, because we haven't gotten over there, but they are eager to get over there and get those tools and start working on that porch.
And I love it. They're ready to go to work and help. I mean, that's awesome. That's a great I guess, result of an additional result of the camp, helping others and helping their own family. Crystal, what about your son? Would he be interested in going back?
Oh, absolutely. He, every time he hears now about a camp, he's like, what kind of camp is that? I want to go to another camp. Like, let's find another camp.
So
like,
that was his
yeah.
first experience?
Yep,
at
that was his
camp.
first camp,
Okay.
yep.
Okay. How important, briefly, we're about to take a break, but was the faith element to you all?
Oh, it was number one. That was one of the reasons that, and you know, we are members of the church, but the faith element is very important to us, and it was a place where I could drop him off in the morning and he was there all day, and I didn't worry at all. Like, I didn't have any concerns or anything.
Lena, to you as well, the faith?
Absolutely, definitely. You can drop them off and just feel comfortable and know that they're in good hands and that they're teaching values that we also teach at home. So
Yes,
yes.
absolutely. Okay, very good. Well, thank you both for being here and sharing your experiences and those of your kids. Thank you to Bishop Coleman as well, Lena Chapman and Crystal Watkins. Hopefully this will help some of our viewers. And I want to also remind you of another safety issue, drowning. It's a major cause of death in children, particularly African-American children who may not have been exposed to swimming and swimming lessons. It can be preventable. Palatine Renewal Center is working with Swim On Foundation to offer pool safety and swim lessons to children. Swim On Foundation is launching this program using an indoor pool. Take a look at this PSA.
On a beautiful day at the end of summer, Kimball and I were at our farm with our 4 kids and a handful of families. The kids played while the parents enjoyed the wonderful weather. No one saw our 2-year-old Nicholas go in. A 12-year-old swimming alone in the pool saw something at the bottom. What he brought up was our 2-year-old son, Nicholas, blue and unresponsive. He never regained consciousness.
40 years later, on a beautiful day this last August, Kaylee and I were at the pool with our 4 kids and extended family. No one saw our 2-year-old Annie go in. Kaylee found her hidden behind a wall at the bottom of the pool, blue and unresponsive. Miraculously, Annie's breath was not her last. A doctor and paramedic were on the site and administered CPR that undoubtedly helped save Annie's life. We know that we were incredibly lucky. That Annie's outcome was not the more common one between Nicholas and Annie's 2 similar stories. That most end in tragedy, including many families that Lisa and Kim have, as they have worded it, had the unfortunate honor to get to know. These aren't stories of negligence. They're stories of hope. At least that's how Swim On sees it. Because while drowning is the #1 cause of death in children ages 1 to 4, and the second highest for ages 5 to 14, it's also the most preventable. And Swim On's mission is to do just that. Prevent it.
CPR helped save Annie's life that night. The Annie Initiative might just save the life of another.
Swim On's mission is not to make swimming scary. It's quite the opposite. It's to have kids swim on, but swim on safely. We know we were incredibly lucky, but we don't want to leave the next story to luck. Knowing the safety precautions and layers of protection that safer waters in memory of Nicholas provides, families can swim on. Annie can swim on.
Hi, Annie.
Say thank you and swim on.
Thank you. Swim on.
The contact for this program is Lisa McMullen, president of Swim On Foundation. Call 314-795-6770 for more information. I'd also like to say thanks to each and every one of you who tune into the issues and share your comments with us. Remember, you too can join the discussion. Log on to Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to download the free STL TV app. Be sure to tune in to our next edition of The Issues, where we'll have another informative topic that you definitely won't want to miss.